Hey guys, this is Exalian here, bringing you another narrated Pokemon Wi-Fi battle. Today I have a game against DoggieBones, or Alex, and this was a pretty fun match right here. He leads off with a Fortress, and I lead off with my Colberzelf because Colberzelf is pro, and I taunt it because I don't want him getting any hazards up. So I set up my entry hazards, namely Stealth Rocks, as he goes for Payback, which lets me know that this thing probably doesn't have Explosion. Because, Payback, Rapid Spin, and Double Hazards are mostly what I see on Fortress, or Rapid Spin, Explosion, Double Hazards. So I U-turn out because I have nothing else left to do with my Azelf, and I go out into my Scissor because I want to start setting up sword stances against this guy. So this is my sword stance Scizor with leftovers, so this thing is a little bit bulky, and I'm just going to start setting up sword stances right here. So he switches out his Fortress because he sees this as an opportunity for him to set up, and indeed it is, because my Scizor has no chance against this Gyarados. So what I'm going to do right here is, predicting the obvious Dragon Dance, I'm going to go out into Poly, my Zapdos, because I can take +1 anything really from this thing, except for maybe Ice Fang. And who runs Ice Fang Gyarados? So, predicting a switch, I'm going to go for a Substitute right here, but he goes for the Bounce instead, which guarantees me a free kill against this Gyarados and makes me a happy panda. Yes, I'm a happy panda. Live with it. So, he takes down my Substitute, which is obvious, and I'm just going to get the free kill with Thunderbolt, which makes me very, very pleased. I just took down a very dangerous sweeper right here, because Gyaradoses are always scary. You just got 6-0'd by a +1/+1 Gyarados. That is not an uncommon sight, so I've heard. So right now he's going to go into his Fortress again because he knows I'm a Sub-Rooster, which means I have nothing to touch this Fortress, and I'm going to have to let him get up a layer of Toxic Spikes. So I'm going to try to start setting up sword stances again because I want to set up on this thing because it can't touch me because I know it doesn't have Explosion. So he's going to send out this Heatran again, and fearing the Fire Blast, I am going to have to switch out again and waste my +2. So I go into Flygon because it's really the only thing on my team that I want to take a Fire Blast, and he sets up Stealth Rocks. So I'm thinking mind games right here because I thought this might be a non-lead Tran, and I thought it might be a lead Tran in the non-lead spot. So I go for the Earthquake, but unfortunately he switches out to this Zapdos. This is where my Colbur Berry came in handy, by the way. This is why Colberzelf is pro. Because if I had taken any more damage from that Payback earlier in the match, then this would not have happened. I live with 12 HP and explode, killing another one of his sweepers. Do not underestimate offensive Zapdos. This thing is a monster. Because it has a good enough special move pool that it can sweep. He probably should have run Life Orb with this thing instead of Leftovers, which I think he had. So he goes on to this Heatran, confirming my suspicions that it is Scarf. Well, I didn't really have any suspicions that it was Scarf, but I knew it was Scarf after I saw him send it in, because you always send in your Scarf for after Double Down. So he goes for the Fire Blast, and I take that with more than half HP, which makes me pretty happy. And predicting his switch again, because he doesn't want to lose his Scarfer, I go for the U-turn. And he goes back out into this annoying Fortress again. So my plan here was to send out my Gengar because I wanted to lower this thing's HP so I could start setting up again with one of my two sweepers. So this is a sub-split Gengar, so I'm just going to start subbing down as he goes for the obvious paybacks. And I'm just going to keep on subbing and subbing and subbing until I'm low enough to go for the Pain Split. This part is a little bit stally, so I'm sorry for the boredom that it's obviously inducing in all of you. But, sometimes stall is part of Pokemon. You just gotta live with that. So I think I go for the Pain Split right here because I do not have enough to sub anymore. And then I'm going to start off another round of substituting down and then Pain Splitting. But I'm only going to be doing 2 Pain Splits, so you don't have to worry about this being a huge stall fest. So like I said, my plan here was to reduce its HP as much as I could so that I could come in here and set up with something else and KO it. So he paybacks on my Pain Split, which means I'm low enough to go for Pain Split again and just reduce it massively. And that's exactly what I do. I go for the pain split knowing I'm going to lose my Gengar, but also seeing this as a free opportunity to go in with one of my sweepers and start setting up again. So I lose my Gengar right here. Also, does pain split affect the double power of payback? Because I'm not sure if it counts as a damaging move for it. Because sometimes pain split can heal your HP. So I don't really know. So I go into my Scissor, and I was hoping he would go into Heat Ran again so I could kill it with Brick Break, but alas, 'tis not to be, and he starts setting up again. So I keep on going for the Brick Break, hoping he'll predict me to go for the Sword Stance, and I can catch that Heat Ran off guard, because I do not like that Heat Ran. And the only thing I really have that can freely switch into it is my Flygon, and my Flygon can only freely switch into it one last time. So I see this as a bad move for me. Well, I see this as a bad position for me, so I'm going to have to switch out to my last sweeper and hope to get in, enough time to sweep with it. So here comes Verdict, my Empoleon. The final verdict. Will you be guilty or will you be innocent? That is the question. So I'm going to go for the obvious agility, because obvious agility is obvious on almost any Empoleon except for the leads. And I think he's going to go for another layer of Toxic Spikes for no particular reason. Literally nothing on my team is affected by Toxic Spikes, because everything grounded is part Steel type, and everything else is like levitating or flying. So I'm going to start going for the substitutes, because substitutes are awesome, and he's going to go for the payback, crit my substitute, which is actually pretty good for me, because that allows me to go for another substitute. And yeah, it's about to just be an epic Empoleon sweep right here. The final verdict is that DoggieBones' team is guilty of being weak to Subtea Empoleon. So I could have gone for another substitute right here. I could have let him bring me down to my Patea Berry, but I thought I'd rather have the substitute up just to deal with stuff like Hitmontop, who have priority Mach Punch that could kill me, or Infernape, which is more likely. So I just keep my substitute up because I figure I can 2-hit KO pretty much everything on his team. And he goes out into this Breloom to test and see whether I have Grass Knot or Ice Beam. He switches into Heat Ran, which would have been a good switch either way. And yeah, because it X4 resists both Ice Beam and Grass Knot. But of course I'm going to kill it with my Surf, and I outsped this Heat Ran with my agility, but as it would turn out, Scarfed Flygon still outspeeds Agility Empoleon. So keep that in mind, because Scarfed Flygon is annoying. It costed me my sweep in another game. So he goes out into this Gengar, hoping to beat me. I don't know what his plan was, but it obviously fails right here because his substitute fails. And he just called that GG right there.